This is a video message from the medical staff supporting the UK Invictus team at the Sydney 2018 Games. This simple advice will help to make sure that you arrive in the best possible condition for this event. A good place to start is to see your GP to get supplies of your medicines and check that all your vaccinations are up to date. Ideally, have a letter from your GP or a prescription to show what medications you are taking for customs purposes. And if you feel that you might need any sedatives or sleeping tablets to help with the flight, then you should ask your GP prior for this, as the medical team will not be carrying any. When thinking about packing, please make sure that you have all your medicines and any dressings that you use, as it's not always possible to get exactly the same type in other countries. Pack enough for the duration of the trip and add some extra, but please do not put it all into your checked-in baggage in case your case ends up in Saigon rather than Sydney, and then you'll still have some to tide you over on arrival until more supplies can be obtained. The next consideration is the prevention of deep vein thrombosis. Our experience travelling with Paralympic teams has shown this has been a real issue from long-haul air travel. But there are some steps you can take to prevent this. Purchase some flight socks from a pharmacy. These not only reduce the chance of DVT, but also reduce swelling in the ankles from travelling. These are quite tight-fitting, and we recommend putting these on before you leave home, rather than trying to do it in the cramped space of an aircraft. Arrive at the airport in good time, making sure you have all your medications and equipment, and don't forget your passport. Boarding the aircraft with a large team with a variety of mobility impairments is going to take some time, so do be patient. Work with the ground staff. This is a two-leg journey. The first about 13 hours from London to Singapore, with a 90-minute stopover, and then a further 8-hour flight to Sydney, so you need to be mentally and physically prepared. So in total, it's going to take nearly 24 hours, and it's going to be a long and tiring time. And you'll need to prepare yourself mentally for being confined in a cramped space for this length of time. As the psych and welfare team will have taught you, don't start wrestling pigs. Put into place the coping strategies that you will have discussed in advance so you can deal with the stress. We know that periods of air travel in low humidity air will tend to lead to dehydration, and this increases the risk of DVT. This is made worse by alcoholic and caffeinated drinks, so please avoid these. But do drink plenty of water. If you have mobility issues or need to self-catheterize, then you might consider drinking less to avoid the need to use the toilet. But please keep drinking, as dehydration also increases the risk of developing urinary tract infection, which is one of the commonest problems facing people with spinal cord injury. The commonest illnesses affecting athletes travelling to and at games are upper respiratory tract infections and stomach upsets with diarrhea and vomiting. Travelling in close proximity is a common way of spreading infection, and it is important to minimise this by good hand hygiene. The use of antiseptic gels is recommended, so please make sure you keep some with you at all times. It is essential not to spread your infection to other teammates, so in addition to taking preventive measures, please report any symptoms as soon as possible to the medical staff so we can avoid spreading it to the rest of the competitors. Staying comfortable in aircraft seating can be difficult, and some people prefer to remove their prosthesis. But we have seen cases where the residual limb or stump can become swollen during the flight, and then it becomes difficult to get the prosthesis on again without causing undue pressure on the skin. So if you do remove your prosthesis, then it's probably better to keep the liner on or use a simple compression sock in place during the flight. In addition to the fatigue of travel, there's also jet lag to take into consideration. Sydney is 9 hours ahead of UK time. And when you board the aircraft, start by changing your watch to Australia time. Stay awake for dinner and then sleep, but waking for the last 4 hours of the first flight. Try and sleep as much as possible on the second leg of the flight from Singapore, as we'll be landing early in the morning in Australia. You will arrive around 6 a.m. in the morning, and you should use sunglasses to minimize light exposure until 9 a.m. on that day. Try and stay awake and consider some light exercise and stretching, but nothing high intensity for the first 48 hours. Avoid tea or coffee, and if you're desperate for a power nap, limit it to 30 minutes only. You can expect some disturbance of your sleep pattern for several days after arrival, and one thing you can do is to avoid the use of screens or mobile phones close to bedtime, and also if you wake during the night. Those competitors who do have problems with lack of skin sensation, it's really important to check the buttock area for any red marks for areas of skin breakdown after a long-haul flight. Pressure sores can develop and be a major issue if not treated quickly. We have a fantastic medical team with plenty of Paralympic sports medicine experience who are here to help you. So if you need them, ask advice. And if you're not 100% and in tip-top condition, then it will reduce your chance of competing at your best and winning medals. And remember, when the competition is done, you need to repeat the same process on the way home. Best wishes, good luck, and stay healthy.